Welcome back to Interjections. Inter 3-1 winners over Cagliari yesterday, but we all know why you're really here. We're all with one eye looking towards Wednesday's second leg against Bayern. I'm your host, Andrew. Mikko and Jay with me here today. Mikko, welcome back after your traveling of the world.
Thank you. Happy to be back, and kudos to you guys for the those two episodes during my trip. I was able to listen to them both in my flight back home. So yeah, it was good stuff and interesting match in Germany on last Wednesday, to say the least.
Yep, Mikko, you were our Taremi and Sterling was our Arnautovic, just stepping up clutch when we needed him most.
Yes.
Jay, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, enjoying the calm before the storm, which is the upcoming month or so of scheduled games. I believe we have, Bayern Munich, Bologna, Milan, or something to that effect, followed by Roma, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Yep.
yeah, this is the first and most important game in that run. So let's start on that which starts well, should end well, hopefully.
Yeah, this was really this was the must-win situation. This was the easiest match we had left on the fixture list at home against a poor side. Someone had shared a graphic yesterday comparing the remaining opponents for Napoli and Cagliari, and this was truly like the lowest team in the table we have yet to play, whereas Napoli still have to play 5 or 6 opponents who are, at Cagliari's place in the table or lower. We just have a harder remaining schedule with Bologna, Lazio, Roma. So this was an essential win. You go up 6 points and you put all the pressure on Napoli. I don't have a ton to say about the match itself. I mean, it was a carbon copy of the past 2 games against Udinese and Parma, and that we put together a largely dominant first half. Everyone's feeling good about themselves, minus the fact we're emotionally scarred from last week. And then, just like the last 2 weeks, we make things uncomfortable when we gift Piccoli a free header and he converts and they have the lead. But we, for the first time in a while, we responded well to some adversity when we conceded early in the second halves. A towering Bisek header reestablishes our lead, seals the match, and we're feeling good about ourselves. And it was nice to see us buck this pattern of second half meltdowns where we stop playing. There are really 2 storylines for the match. The first is that we were able to thread the needle. We were able to get away with giving most of our players who matter significant rest, which obviously, like I said, one eye towards Bayern. So being able to start Arnautovic, Zalewski, Fratesi, Bisek, guys who are definitely not going to be starting on Wednesday, you just feel like you got away with one. You're like, okay, we're going to be in a great situation on Wednesday, because if you look at Bayern in the Bundesliga, they had a match against Borussia Dortmund, and it looked like their full strength starting 11 played, and they played pretty much the entire 90 minutes of that game. So there we go. We have found a way to carve out a small advantage for us, and that's what Wednesday is going to come down to. It's going to be about carving out advantages. So credit to the boys there. And then, of course, the headline stealer, the man of the match, the legend himself, Arnautovic, with another sterling performance. This guy's in the best form of his Inter career. I'd already given up on him. No one had thought it was possible, but now he has something like 4 goals in his last 5 league matches. He also had a ridiculous assist to Lautaro on Lautaro's goal. Arnautovic's goal itself was extremely well taken, high into the roof of the net. It's nice to see this guy becoming a usable option for us. I hope this doesn't inspire us to renew his contract, but he has been a difference maker in the past month or so. The problem with Arnautovic is that he's 35, 36 years old, and he doesn't have the stamina to play more than 55, 60 minutes in these types of matches. So maybe best used as a super sub, maybe best used in the first half of matches, but he is making a difference in his limited minutes, which is more than you can say about Taremi or Correa. So major props to Arnautovic. great performance yesterday, and he's truly being a positive contributor to the team, which is more than you can say about the other strikers. So, Mikko, I'll let you go first since it's been a hot minute. What were your thoughts on the match yesterday?
Yeah, I think you concluded it pretty well. It was like the carbon copy, as you said. I think the difference, in a sense, that we conceded so early in the second half. So there was was it like 48th minute or something? So there was like plenty of time to score again and make it little less nerve wracking, and that's what we did. But I imagine if we conceded like at minute 65, 70, it would be like more tense at that point. And and I think that now we have like 3 matches in a row, like almost similar kind of how the game has gone. It just like tells the story that this team is like they are completely done. Like, okay, not completely done given what we were able to do against Bayern, for instance, but okay, even against them it was a bit of a struggle at the end. But like we really try to save all the energy we have left. And I saw some comments there in Twitter or wherever it was that they were like picked some lines by Inzaghi or players on the sidelines that they are shouting to the players that, okay, don't sprint, like just stay in the back to try to avoid any injuries and like reserve energy. So it's kind of a telling that we really try to contain ourselves and try to kind of keep us fresh for the matches coming up. And yeah, it's going to be like a hell of a season ahead of us. Not too many games, but still like so many and not so easy ones that I don't know. It's going to be like really tense, given this was indeed maybe the so-called easiest one of the upcoming matches which we have still left to play. As for the kind of game itself, yeah, same thing. We were pretty dominant in the first half. There was was it like one case when Piccoli was able to break free from De Vrij. I don't know, was there some kind of miscommunication between players, since I think those are not too typical. We concede those kind of breakaways, but Sommer was able to handle it pretty brilliantly. And then we scored the 2 goals. They were nice goals, and I don't know, maybe we could have scored even more. I don't know. In the second half, then it was a bit more kind of this kind of a struggle we've seen. So the main point was maybe as you Andrew mentioned, that we were able to kind of rest some of our players so that they are more fresh for the Bayern match. I think there were still like few cases. For example, Zalewski, I assume Inzaghi would have wanted to use him for the 90 minutes so that Darmian wouldn't have to play at all, and these kind of things. Maybe Çalhanoğlu could have played a bit less, but I don't know, was it Inzaghi's distrust to Aslani that he can't handle it more than 10 minutes, but it is what it is. But all in all, of course, happy for the result, put the pressure on Napoli, and now we're just waiting for the main event.
Yeah, 10 minutes too many if you ask me. Jay, as you look at Arnautovic's recent performance, is there any part of you that wants to renew him for next season?
Probably not. He's turning 36 in a week from today, or less than a week. So the answer is no, unfortunately. But it does raise a lot of questions about the state of our squad next season, and it does open up a lot of other questions as well regarding our wider recruitment needs, not just in the forward department. As we all know, Arnautovic and Correa's contracts are coming to an end soon, and the only forwards we'll have under contract are the starting duo and Taremi. So obviously something's got to happen there. It's going to be on the to-do list for Marotta and co to find some solution for the forward department. And on that note, I've heard that your boy Jonathan David seems to be a more concrete option, and that we've even gone so far as to offer him a contract. Was that right? Something like 5 million net per season.
Yeah, that I think that's the latest.
Wasn't he asking for much more, much more than that?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I've seen like he would want like 8 million net, but
Yeah, I remember.
I don't know.
Distinctly remember seeing 8 somewhere, but
Yeah, but it could be like I don't know about these reports. Like there was somewhere that he would ask like 9 million cross, which is like maybe 8 million net, but then he would ask like 50 million signing bonus or something, something like that, which kind of
defeats the
if you
purpose.
if you calculate them together, it's probably around the same. So it's like a significant amount for Inter.
Jonathan David can go to hell, all right. Who the fuck does this guy think he is, playing in Lille, one of these notorious talent farms where they grow any half decent young player into like a serviceable prospect, and then all of a sudden these guys think they're top shit. Like the best player to come out of Lille in the last 30 years is probably fucking Hazard, and a close second, Rafael Leao, obviously. But Jonathan David is not even
Basically the same tier of talent.
Exactly. Arguably, no, I won't go there. But
Actually, Osimhen came from Lille as well. So
yeah, good point.
He's pretty.
Good point.
Was pretty hot shit.
One of those players washed out of Serie A, Mikko. One did not.
Let me just say, does Jonathan David at this stage in his career look like he can reach the heights of any of those guys? To me, the answer is a clear no. Obviously, Leao was a bit more raw than either of these guys. I think before you know what I'm saying. Before he became the Leao that we know, he's a bit more raw, and I think Jonathan David spent a bit more time in the oven compared to these two guys or three guys. But I don't see it. I don't see the same level of technical skill or finesse or class in the way he plays to indicate that he can really do much more than what he's doing. And that's kind of how I describe Thuram. I do think he's leveled up from his Mönchengladbach days, but I do think there is a bit of a ceiling for Thuram, and I think that's why he doesn't play in the national team as much as he's not going to play over Mbappe. He's not going to play over Griezmann. I think there's a very good reason for that. He's simply not as good as Mbappe or Griezmann, right? Likewise, Jonathan David, a bit of a sideways comparison here, but yeah, I don't think he's going to be much better than what he is right now, and so I don't think he's worth the outlay. Now, for 5 million net a season, that's a different question, but as we've speculated, that's probably on the low end of what he wants, and he might not be inclined to accept. But anyway, getting back to the Cagliari match, I don't really have much to say either. I'm glad to see that we managed to immediately arrest the slide and that trend of blowing the game or risk blowing the game by simply switching off in the second half and putting our feet up. You could sense the stadium's mood really shift the second Piccoli scored the goal for Cagliari. It was like early in the second half. It might have been 2 minutes into the second half, and you could immediately sense everyone just go, not this shit again, and roll their eyes. And this time, what's most important is that you could sense the players get that slap in the face, that wake-up call, and they kind of return to playing at their regular level, and we were able to get a goal from that fantastic Bissek header. So that's the most important thing, that the players themselves recognized it and they were able to fix it themselves. For me, the biggest takeaway from that game is actually what we're going to do about the wing-back situation. Now, you mentioned, most of our stars were able to get some rest. Like Lautaro did not play a full game. I think Barella played a full game, didn't he?
Yeah, he played, unfortunately.
Yeah, Barella played 90 minutes, and I know Bastoni didn't, but for me, the biggest question is actually Augusto. I am inclined to think he should start over DiMarco against Bayern Munich. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves.
It's a good point. Good point.
But Augusto's been monstrous the last handful of games, especially defensively. He's been coming up massive. Actually, I had a bit of a stinker against Parma, but Parma's side has just been as good as he's ever been in the last few games. Whereas DiMarco, although he got the assist, he's not looking as sharp as he needs to, and it's more than likely will need the physicality and the defensive ability of Augusto.
Yeah,
Before we get an angry comment, I do want to point out there is one Inter player among us who's a former Lille player who we are forgetting to mention, and that is one
Pavard.
Benji Pavard.
Yeah. He didn't come straight from Lille, though. He went from Lille to, like...
That's right.
Frankfurt or something. No, not Frankfurt. Cologne?
Was it Stuttgart?
Stuttgart.
Yeah,
I think you're right, Stuttgart. But my point. We can't trust these talent farm squads like Lille and Dortmund and fucking Porto and stuff. They scam us every single time. Atalanta, he's got to scam us every fucking time. So, got to take their talents with a pinch of salt, is what I'm saying. But
the one thing I'll caution with Jonathan David, having seen him a lot with the national team and whatever, is that he is not as good of a goal scorer as his raw numbers with Lille indicate. And a lot of that's because it's just easy to score in Ligue 1. But he is not that technical of a finisher. Like, his goal scoring stats in France are fantastic, but he's not someone who's going to come in here and score 15 goals a year. I think he's going to struggle to break the double-digit goal mark, even if he's playing starters minutes for us. He's just not that type of player. He really is more of a supporting striker than an out-and-out goal scorer. And I do think his numbers at Lille are misleading.
Do you think he has what it takes tactically and from an intelligence standpoint to play alongside Lautaro or Thuram in like as part of a functioning partnership? I don't know what formation Lille play, and I don't know what I don't know what system they employ under the genius of Fonseca, or they used to employ under Fonseca, but. Does he have the intelligence? Does he have the brains and the system kind of awareness to do such a thing?
I will say he has good composure. He's not someone who just goes and hacks at the ball. Like, he'll take a second on it, make a smart decision. And he is pretty quick, which is nice because our team is so old and slow. Like, he has some good pace to him. He's a lot like Thuram in that he's not going to beat you in a sprint, but he's quick, he's agile. So I think he has the intelligence to play in a two-striker system. I've seen him do it a lot, like I said, with Canada, where he's like a supporting striker underneath the scrubs they have as their true number 9. But it depends what you want this guy to do. If you're really bringing in this guy to score 10 goals a year, I don't think he's going to be capable of doing that in this league.
But for instance, he has scored 7 Champions League goals this season in 10 games against Real, Atletico, Juve, Liverpool, Feyenoord, Dortmund. So it's not like just him scoring against some minor teams.
That is a good point. He's been playing the best form of his life this past season.
Yeah, I wouldn't downplay his scoring record. I think, I don't know. I feel that if you score so many goals, it kind of means something kind of. I don't think French league.
I introduce you to Mehdi Taremi.
Yeah, that's a valid counterpoint to that. Yeah, but I would, regarding our chances to sign him, I would put some kind of weight to the fact that we play actually with 2 strikers. He would be able to play more at Inter compared to some other top club. If, like, I would say most of the top clubs plays with only 1 striker. So maybe by default he would be a bench striker. At Inter he would be a bench striker, but for two strikers. So there's like a already bigger chances for minutes in that kind of setup. And maybe indeed he fits better to be this kind of to play in a 2 striker setup. So let's hope his kind of asking price goes down for the level which is acceptable for us. But yeah, we discussed this, like who would you want and rather, like David, Castro, and so on. And I believe we all wanted Castro rather than David, but I guess it all comes down to the price.
I do think David would be probably a bigger impact signing in terms of obviously the name and the statement, but I do think he's more likely to be more useful on the pitch, to be honest with you. I think overall, over time, Castro is probably a better fit, but, if you imagine like Jonathan David coming off the bench, is certainly, got a bit more repute than Castro. Castro is still a nobody, a prospect at Bologna, whereas, as you mentioned, David's been scoring some big goals in the Champions League against big sides, and there is that awareness there. So and if you're an Inter fan, you'd probably prefer to see, Jonathan David coming off the bench to help you in a 2-1, when you're 2-1 down, rather than a Castro, who's just going to be sitting there really goal poaching for the most part. So there's that. But yeah, as we mentioned, it depends on the money, but I guess we'll see what happens.
I'm done with Castro after his horrific miss against Napoli last weekend. Dude, what was that?
That was, close range. Tough for him.
What was Lautaro-esque.
What happened? I missed that match.
He had a chance to put Bologna up 2-1 against Napoli, and he just missed a goal from, to Jay's point, it was a tight angle, but he missed what should have been a goal.
Oh, bugger.
While we're talking about Mercato, let's spend a couple minutes talking about the most likely signing at this point. Morata has acknowledged we're interested in Luis Enrique in public, which is a little unlike him. Normally, he's more reserved. He won't come out and just declare our interest in players. But Romano and Di Marzio are both saying, we're close. It's expected we're going to have a definitive agreement. They're saying we're offering 22 million. Marseille want 30 million. And this really came out of nowhere. I'll admit, I don't watch much Marseille. Never even really heard of this guy up until the transfer rumors started. But apparently we're close, and this is someone we're seriously interested in. And there's a couple key things to unpack here. One is, okay, we have money to spend, ? If we're going out and putting forth 30 mil for a wingback. That's very unlike us. The second being, we really want to spend 30 million on a wingback? It's interesting because we were talking with Gotham a couple weeks ago, and the thought is, okay, Inter have performed so well in the Champions League, maybe we'll have a little bit of a war chest. And the thought is we're going to spend that money on other positions in the squad, not necessarily a quote-unquote backup wingback. I have seen people argue, and I'll give you the point, that we play so many minutes and we have so many matches that basically every position needs 2 starters. And that's what this guy would be. If you check out Henrique's YouTube video compilations, you check out his stats, it's clear this guy is gifted in attack. He's technically sound. He has a lot of nice first touches. He can definitely beat defenders one-on-one. He's in the top percentile of wingbacks who can just go and beat their man, which is something the squad does not have. Most of his liabilities is going to be on the defensive side. It doesn't seem like this guy's that talented of a defender. So it's interesting that we're linked to a more attacking-minded right wing-back as well. I consider Dumfries pretty attacking-minded and not the best player defensively, but that's what Morata and Osilio want. They want someone even more attacking-minded on the right. So, Mikko, what do you think of this from a financial perspective, from a squad-building perspective? Are you surprised we're talking about splashing 30 million on a wing-back among all positions?
Yeah, pretty surprised. I don't believe we're gonna spend 30 million, maybe that 20 million, but and some bonuses added. But I think there's difference between these two numbers a bit. But yeah, it's not insignificant for Inter, nevertheless, to spend that kind of money to any player. But yeah, I kind of like it in a sense that it emphasizes Inzaghi's how much he values kind of the wingback position. And as we've seen, he wants to sub the wingbacks off usually when possible. Now it hasn't been that possible lately since there's been so many injuries all over the place. But yeah, I kind of like it. Imagine what kind of situation we would be he would be able to rotate our wing backs properly this season already. Like I think this kind of offensive weapon would really kind of help us in the long term. And what I'm looking this guy, I think he's like naturally more like a left or right winger, like almost like a forward rather than a wing back. And that Serbi had shifted him to be this kind of a right midfielder, right wing back this season, and it has worked well. But the kind of natural position for him has been more offensive one, and I guess it's fine. But of course, at the Inter, you need to learn to defend as well. And I would say I have a trust on our scouting to kind of see the potential in these players. Like if we're gonna splash this kind of money, we have the kind of vision that he can be a proper wing back for us. Is as said, it's not nothing to pay like 20 plus millions for any player Inter is going to sign.
Jay, also curious your thoughts. But while we're also talking about wingbacks, I would like your thoughts on whether Zalewski has done enough in your mind to redeem as kind of a fifth wingback who can play on both sides.
So I don't have any thoughts on Luis Enrique. Morata's comments strike me as being odd as well, not because it's like uncharacteristic, that's one thing, but it just struck me as being unnecessary. Like, we've seen what's happened in the past with players like Bremer, for example. Great deals we had in the works, cooking in the oven that got snatched at the last minute due to our inability to close the deal, right? And so, regardless of what I think of the player, I don't want other teams coming in and snatching our players at the 11th hour, especially if they're not sealed. So, preferable that we don't draw attention to ourselves and just and invite that kind of observation from other third parties who might be interested. But whatever. With regards to Zalewski, yeah, it's not a lot of money. 6.5 million, I believe, is his redemption clause, and by all reports, it sounds like the club does want to exercise it. Having said that, he has, even in the short time he's been here, shown a little bit of concerning patterns with his injuries. I think he's claimed, or he apparently put a post on Instagram after coming off against Cagliari saying that he's not injured and that it was only cramps, but we'll have to see. He's only just come back from injury. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think almost straight after his memorable debut in the derby where he gave De Vrij a 92nd minute assist, he was injured for like 4 weeks straight after that. So it's not been smooth sailing, and he looks a little bit clueless when he's on the right, I feel. I was a little bit disappointed with him against Cagliari. I was thinking, he's a team that is going to sit back a bit, a team that we can play around or play through. And, I want to see Zalewski utilize his attacking, intent that he has to make a difference from minute one. But I feel like it was largely absent. And whenever he did get involved, it was very, very routine and safe stuff for him, just cycling possession, passing it backwards. I don't think he put in many crosses at all. Many good crosses at all, and I didn't see him driving down that right flank as much as I would have. He is definitely left-footed, right?
I don't really know, actually.
Because I swear I saw him switching onto his left foot to try and cross it in with his left foot. But I think I'm pretty sure he played on the left largely during his time at Roma, and in any instance, I feel he is more comfortable on the left. So
I don't know. Transfermarkt says that foot is right, but I don't know. He plays pretty well with his left anyway.
Yeah, and all those crosses he put in against Milan and stuff were all on his left foot as well. So normally Transfermarkt is pretty good with that kind of stuff, but yeah, I feel he's more of a left footer, but whatever. Look, to answer your question, Andrew, like I said, 6.5 is not a lot of money, but when you're Inter, it's like, the way we've been the last couple of years, or last 10 years really, it's like can you make it 5.5? You know what I mean? can you do a deal for 5? You know, how about 5 and option for 1? You know, this kind of shit. So
Loan with an obligation.
yeah, pretty much. Honestly, like 6.5 is nothing, and we should take it for a 23-year-old who is he has nearly 100 Serie A games under his belt, and who's obviously got a degree of speed and technical ability and all this kind of stuff. At the same time, like I said, there is definitely growing that he needs to do. But yeah, I'll take him for 6.5 million, assuming that, you know, the difference between 5 million transfer fee and 6.5 million transfer fee is not a deal breaker for us like it has been in the past.
The big unknown here is we just don't know what the funding for the Mercato is going to look like, even if you bake in a few assumed sales. Like we know Arnautovic and Cray are coming off the books. We know Fertesi might be on his way out, but how much money is Oak Tree going to let us spend? And based on these Enrique rumors, I think the answer, the early sneak peek, is they're going to give us a good size transfer budget, because it would be so irresponsible of Morata to spend 70-80% of our budget on a backup right wing back. So my thought is there should be some good amount of money to spend, and if that's the case, redeeming Zalewski should be easy enough, but we just won't know until we get to the Mercato.
Oh, you mean irresponsible? Like he spent 80% of our transfer budget on a 5th choice centre back and a 2nd choice goalkeeper?
A 5th choice centre back who is stuck on the bench at Monza.
Yeah, who can't even play for the worst team in the league. Yeah, that was responsible.
No comment. Mikko, any last thoughts on Mercato?
A quick comment on Zalewski. I think he would be kind of perfect, but given the price is pretty cheap, he would be pretty nice kind of to be the 5th guy for the wingback positions. He could be able to be the second backup for both roles, and there would be like two players for each position plus Zalewski. I could see that kind of scenario being being like, I don't know, optimal, but anyway, very useful for the coach. Zalewski has, as said, he has Serie A experience quite a lot for such a young age. So you could use him in the league matches, Coppa, however you want, and yeah, I would be open redeeming him, but yeah, as for the kind of the budget thing, yeah, if like a big portion of our budget is spent on Luis Enrique, or how you wanna kind of pronounce that name, yeah, I would maybe do something differently in that case. So hopefully this is an indication that we can spend more like significantly more than in previous years.
My main man Fitzy was blasting me for my name pronunciations again this past week, so I'm calling you out, Fitzy. I don't hear you potting with us. If you want to hop on the pod and give it your own shot, let me know. Well, let's give the people what they want, which is a good discussion of the Bayern match on Wednesday, which is safe to say Inter's biggest Champions League match in 15 years. It's just exciting. I've been looking forward to this match basically since the match on Tuesday ended. Now there's some like emotional subplots because you have Company and Harry Kane complaining to the media that we celebrated too much after the victory in Munich. I mentioned this in my recap of the Cagliari match, but Bayern did play yesterday, and they pretty much started their full strength team, and their full strength team basically played the entire match against Dortmund. So we have a nice built-in advantage there. From an availability standpoint, Dumfries will not be playing. Zalewski, it sounds like Jay said, was just cramps. He should be available. Other than that, not much has changed from the first leg. Beyond, we don't know what's going to happen with DeMarco. Will DeMarco start? Will Augusto start? And that's where I'll begin my discussion, because I think Jay made the great point that we really struggled with Olise on the right side of Bayern's attack in the match on Tuesday, especially early in the match. which makes you think that maybe starting with Augusto is a good idea from a defensive standpoint. I would counter with I'd rather see DeMarco play from the start of this match because I want us to go out and show some initiative and to come out attacking and try to grab an early goal. Because if you can score a goal before the 60th minute of this match, there is going to be so much pressure on Bayern that you'll need to be sitting deep. You'll need to be absorbing a bit pressure later in the match. And that's obviously something Augusto is well suited for. So I get the arguments from both sides. I'd probably start DeMarco. That's our big start-sit decision for this match. Otherwise, you can assume Darmian will be starting at right wing back. The other thing to just keep an eye on is that we have so many players who are booking away from missing the first semifinal leg if we were to qualify against Barcelona. I don't want to. You don't want to look ahead too much because, like we've been saying, the job is not done. But it's just a real possibility that we have a lot of guys who can be suspended. I believe Lautaro, Barella, Pavar. I'm missing one or two.
I think Bastoni.
Bastoni as well. There you go. All these guys are booking away from missing the first semifinal. So we need to play a clean game because you want to advance and you want to have a chance against Barcelona. Mikko, you obviously weren't with us after the first Bayern match. So if you want to talk about your thoughts on the first match at all, go ahead. But otherwise, what are you looking for on Wednesday?
Yeah, maybe quick thoughts on that match. Yeah, obviously, I don't know. Maybe the biggest result in Champions League since we last beat them. Maybe. So it's like almost 15 years, 14 years, whatever. It was a bit of a struggle. We need to kind of admit that, even though we played like we played in this season in Champions League, when the opponent is able to play, so to speak. They generated a lot of XG versus ours, and for once it gone that way. Like we are sometimes complaining that we keep generating XG, but then can't kind of get the win, like in numerous times against our biggest rivals this season. But now we managed to get the win, despite being the kind of the underdog there, which is kind of it was pretty like a nice feeling in a sense to steal the win from that arena. I was watching the match in London in Club London's their base in the bar there. That was like quite a feeling there when the bar was totally full of Inter fans, and the atmosphere was like incredible. That was pretty amazing kind of experience to be there. But yeah, for the second match, I think even with the bookies say that Bayern is still kind of the favorite for this match. Obviously not for kind of qualifying, because we have like I don't know, maybe not a massive advantage, but of course we are leading and we are playing at home. But still, I think Bayern is very dangerous. Especially the mentioned Olise is a problem for us, and we managed to also kind of give Harry Kane few chances to score, and the biggest one obviously was the missed shot which hit the post in the first match. So I don't know. It's really really kind of a tense situation, and really looking forward how we're gonna approach. I would say we won't be sitting deep in this match, but it's going to be interesting to see what is like what is Bayern's kind of approach. Will they go like full force because they know how we can score in the counters, and how we are able to kind of generate chances, especially as it's our home ground now. So maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's more even match. But of course, if we are leading in the end, it's going to be it's going to be pain, and like a lot of tense moments there. But yeah, uh, I'm actually going to this match, so I'm leaving in a few days to Italy. So it's going to be kind of great
Wow.
experience
Remember when
there as
Mikko had a
well.
job?
Yeah, there's a bit of traveling these times. So really excited to go there, be there.
Considering we have two people on this podcast who are only employed part time, and Irfan and Miko, you'd think it'd be easier to get all four of us together, but here we are.
Employed part-time, and and yet benefiting the most from the recent tax breaks and tariffs.
No comments. Jay, what do you think of? You also did not have a chance to talk to us after the first leg. So, what do you think of the first leg, and what are you looking forward to in this match?
Well, naturally, I was impressed with the first leg performance. The team finally stepped up after 75% of the season avoiding stepping up at every possible opportunity. So that was great to see. But you and Sterling really put it into perspective when you said it all counts for naught if they don't get the job done in the second leg, because it's just like a drop in the ocean or like a fart in the wind if you have one great moment only to not really go on and take advantage of it. I'm not expecting the club to go all the way to the final and win it, but at least let's finish this tie on the right note and eliminate Bayern rather than letting this just become like a minor blip in Bayern's journey past us. I thought Augusto came up huge, obviously. I was impressed that Lautaro managed to have the composure to score that. He's actually kind of hooked it to the opposite corner. Normally, given like where he was in relation to the ball, if he was going for an outside of the foot shot, he would be pushing it to his left and to the goalkeeper's right. But just the way he chose to approach the ball and push it outwards to the far side to his right was an interesting choice, but obviously paid off really well. Stoked for Fratesi, and he was rewarded with a start after that late goal, and it just shows how useful he can be when or in the right circumstances, in the right moments, in the right games. And while I don't want to talk too much about his future, it does seem like he's on his way out. But I think that's a real shame, to lose a player like him. He's obviously very passionate, well liked within the squad, still young, and he can be tremendously useful at times. And his goals scored to minutes played ratio is simply obscene for a centre mid, essentially, right? So if we do lose him, for me it'll be a real shame. It'll always be like damn, what could have been if things were different. But it is what it is, and obviously if he does leave, he's not a player that I'm going to harbour any ill will towards, unless he joins like fucking Juve or Milan or something. But I don't think he will. Otherwise, Sommer played well, Bastoni played well. I thought it was just an all-round great team performance, and Barella was fantastic as well. This game's going to be significantly harder. Not only are Bayern coming with a chip on their shoulder, with a point to prove, and obviously a disadvantage to turn around, but we went into the first game without much expectation, I think, from the fans, from the media, maybe even from the players themselves. But now that we did achieve such a fantastic result in the first leg, there is unavoidably a much higher sense of expectation on the players and coach, I think. So it's going to be a really stressful game. It's going to be a game where the fine margins, the rate of error, the need to take chances and to really maximize on those key moments. It's going to be a game where all these things make the difference. I'll be honest, I'm not optimistic about the tie. I think, for one, Bayern have won every single time they've come to Milan and played us, if I'm not mistaken. It's one of those weird rivalries where both teams have done better at their respective in their respective away games than in their own home. And I think Bayern's beat us every single time they've come to San Siro. So that's one for the trivia fans. But yeah, I'm honestly not all that optimistic. I think still, when you think of like the chances that Bayern spurned in the first half and the way that they systematically just kind of played through us in the first 25 minutes of the first leg. I think they have the ability to do that here as well at San Siro. So I think just objectively, they're still the stronger side. I don't want to end on too much of a sour note, but I have a really filthy feeling this is going to go the same way as Atletico last season. I think we'll score first to put us 3-1 up. I think, everyone will be happy and it'll all be fantastic. And then we'll attempt to sit back and defend, and then we'll have a late collapse. And I think we'll lose 2-1, which will put us 3-3 on aggregate. And then I think we'll go out on penalties. That's my prediction for the game.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. If this thing goes to penalties, we're losing. There's no questions about it. And that's why, as you look at the match, we need to do the job. We need to win this thing in regular time. We can't let this thing get to extra time, because any threat of penalties looming is an automatic loss for us. This team just isn't good enough at penalties to even have a chance.
Can you imagine Aslani standing over a penalty?
I honestly don't even know who our 5 penalty takers would be if you get to an extra time scenario.
Also, I just want to say Gnabry was the game changer when they came off the bench against in the Klassiker against Dortmund. So I think he's in form. I expect him to probably start on the left flank, and yeah, that's a danger man right there.
A lot of Bayern fans are optimistic about their chances of turning this thing around in the return leg. I guess the one thing I'm fully expecting to see is they have to start Mueller now, right? After his goal, after his ability to make a difference, and just Guerrero wasn't that strong as the supporting striker. So I'd expect that to be one change Bayern make. I'm not expecting anything else from them. I haven't read any other changes they're going to be making. It doesn't sound like any of their injured guys will be back in time. The part I'm worried about is just the wings. I thought we really struggled to contain Olise, and to a lesser extent Sane in the first leg. Darmian did not have a great match defensively. He was the reason we maybe struggled early in that first 30-minute stretch. I don't want to read too much into the first 30 minutes, because when you're in an away fixture, it's such a tough environment. Like, it's natural they're going to come out like they were shot out of a cannon. And yeah, Kane let us off the hook, but we did respond well. But that's why we need to start fast tonight, and that is why like I said, I would go with DeMarco to start the match. I just want to get out. I want to try to get that early lead you were talking about, Jay, to go up 3-1 on aggregate. And if we blow a 2-goal lead, we blow a 2-goal lead, but we have to at least try. And I'd rather be in that position where we're defending for our lives than when we're searching for a goal, because let's be honest, there were not a ton of goal scoring chances, especially in the second half against Bayern. Like, we were not cutting them open at will. It took a lot of counterattacking. It took a lot of moments of individual brilliance for us to unlock that defense.
Yeah, I would also bet that way, that we go for the goal at the start, and then take DeMarco out for Augusto, since we need Augusto in the end. Like, I would say most probably we need him there, and whether we can keep the score or not, that's another case. But I think we need his defending there, and I think DeMarco, he wasn't playing against Bayern at all, right? But he
didn't play at all.
He played against Parma, and now he played against Cagliari. So they were just saving him there. Hopefully he's getting to the speed and being able to start and play like maybe 1 hour or something, because I think we need his kind of his offensive skills. Augusto is nice, but he's a bit different kind of player offensively. I think I would happily start with DeMarco for certain. And yeah, I don't want to go to the extra time and penalties in this matchup. I don't have great confidence in those scenarios. And as I said, bookies still think that Bayern is the likeliest, or like the home win, draw, away win. Bookies think that away win is the likeliest, which is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a bit weird, but in a sense, Bayern is a tough team, so maybe it is a big match for us, like biggest we've had, and after the or right before the last Bayern match. So this is like the real big thing, and let's hope we do the step up as we did last Wednesday as well. It's
So
going to be
if Bayern are the favorites to win, you're saying, according to the sports books, does that mean they're the favorites to go through?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a bit weird because in a sense the qualification, like odds for qualification, it's like heavily favoring Inter. So I'm just wondering that's just what they say, but I don't know why it works like that. Because even if they win in regular time, we can still win in the extra time and so on. We are at the home ground and so on. But I don't know how I don't know how this works. That's a bit kind of a strange thing. Actually, now that you mentioned.
I guess the sports books haven't seen us take penalties before.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do the mental math here. I'm like, okay, who will still be on the pitch if this goes to penalties? You've got Lautaro probably still around, so that's an automatic miss. a Cherby took one last year and looked pretty good. Okay, there's two. I assume Taremi will be on the pitch by this point. There's three. Who else do we got? Who's taking the penalty here?
I wanna hope that Barella is this time there and not taken out, but I don't know how good he is with penalties. He's like super done at that point, but I don't know. Maybe he's there. Maybe like I said, Arnautovic is there. Augusto, he doesn't strike me as confident penalty taker.
Yes, and don't forget Summer. I don't think I've ever seen Summer do a good job saving a penalty before.
Has he saved any penalty apart from the Nico Gonzalez when he passed it to Sommer?
I don't think so.
I think there was one he saved, but then they scored on the rebound. I can't remember which.
Right.
Yep, you're exactly right.
Was it the Genoa, like first game in this season?
Maybe.
What about
you're right. In the very first game of the season, that like 91st minute penalty from the Bissek handball.
What about the Verona a year ago when we
I can't remember.
won the Fratesi one? They got
that went off the post.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he hasn't like saved that many penalties, but I think he's been pretty good in the Euros and World Cups and whatever.
No, he had to face.
What?
Well, I forget. I want to say it was Spain he faced on penalties in the most recent Euros, and he just blasted 5 right by him. And that's when Jay started coming out with his summer's finished takes.
It was England, I think.
England. There you go.
I'm pretty sure he has saved one Mbappe.
He saved Mbappe in the World Cup, and that was like 2018 or something. It was a long time ago.
Or was it Euros in 2020?
It was the World Cup, Mbappe in 2018. I'm pretty sure.
Well, there's 17 saved penalties, but that's since 2011.
Yeah, he's old, man.
Yeah, but there's quite a few in the past 5 years.
I do think we have a disadvantage in penalty shootouts because Summer just isn't very big. And if there's normally I'm not one of the people who freaks out about we have a small goalkeeper thing, but in penalties it actually makes a tangible difference when you have a guy who's just like not very big. Like Donnarumma is a beast saving penalties, and part of it's because he just takes up so much of the net.
Yeah, let's not go to the penalties.
Agreed. Let's not go to penalties. Well, we have Jay's prediction. Mikko, what's your prediction?
So I will be there, so I wanna celebrate. I wanna be optimistic. So I'm gonna go with 1-1, and it's gonna be of course, like a true nail biter at the end. But we're gonna survive. 1-1.
That was the exact. That was the exact score I was thinking. 1-1, with us getting the goal to open things up. Bayern gets a goal around the 60-minute mark of the second half, and then we defend.
And then it's fucking heart attack mode for 30 minutes, is it?
That's right. God. Park the bus, park the plane, park it all.
Just like sweating profusely by the end of the game.
Mikko's not going to have any hair left. It's going to be great. Our goal scorer is going to be Thuram.
I'm gonna go with Arnautovic. He's gonna be our savior.
Like I said, I'm still going with my 2-1 prediction to Bayern Munich. Goals from, I don't know, let's give it to Pavard, and 1 goal to Gnabry, and another from, I don't know, fucking, we'll give a goal to Bombardilo Crocodilo. How about that?
I'm thinking someone has to predict a Harry Kane goal. So I predicted a 1-1. My Bayern goal will be Harry Kane.
I don't think he's ever scored against us. Like, I mean, not that he's played against us, like, routinely, but even back in the days when we met Tottenham a few times, like the early ones you're thinking about with like Cambiasso and shit in the Europa League, that was pre-Harry Kane. But then in the Spalletti season, I think
it was Eriksen who scored against us.
Both home and away, Eriksen scored against us. So, no better time to start.
No, this is the worst time to start. Let's not go there.
Well, doing a quick check, Spurs once beat us 6-1 in a friendly, and Harry Kane scored twice. So he's somewhat familiar with the feeling.
What of beating us 6-1?
Yeah, so it was a friendly. So Jay's hot betting tips. The world is on edge, waiting for your take on Arsenal, Real Madrid.
If there's one team on the planet that can come back from a 3-0 deficit in the Champions League, that team is surely Real Madrid. And that's precisely why Arsenal are going to beat them 3-0 again in their own home to deepen the humiliation.
Wow.
As I said in the beginning, Arsenal are... The fact that the bookies have considered Arsenal like second favourite for the Champions League this whole time there's a reason for it. Arsenal are probably the best team in the world on their day. Right, I got to stop before I make myself throw up. But no, look, I don't know. I think Arsenal just have a way of playing where they can really size up well on individual occasions. I think over the course of a season, it doesn't work as well, hence them being 10 points, potentially 13 points off the pace behind the league leaders, Liverpool. But yeah, in individual games, they're obviously a match for anyone, as they proved. And look, realistically, 2 of the 3 goals they scored were amazing free kicks, and that doesn't happen often, right? At the same time, they dominated the game against Real Madrid. They had so many massive chances, and if it wasn't for Courtois having a incredible performance, then they could have easily won the game 3-0 even without the fucking free kicks. So I think there's a really good chance that Arsenal win again, to be honest, at the Bernabeu, which would be pretty fucking disgusting, but it is what it is. So that's why I'm predicting Arsenal to repeat the feat and destroy Real Madrid 3-0 again for a 6-0 humiliation on aggregate.
That would surely be the end of Ancelotti at Madrid.
Interesting fact, despite the fact that Ancelotti obviously is a world-class manager, one of the greatest of all time, has always managed the elite of the elite teams and has won every trophy.
Like Everton.
And Napoli. But yeah, despite the fact that he is such an amazing manager and he's won all these things, I think he's only ever defended a league title once in his career. So if he wins the league, then you can pretty much bet on fucking Barcelona to win it the season after, because he's not defending that title.
I could be wrong, but I believe Ancelotti has a single Scudetto in his career as a manager. Like, he is not someone I associate with being a strong league manager. He's the cup specialist.
Yeah, cup specialist in the extreme. How many Champions Leagues has he won? But
yeah, exactly. We need a bonus Jay's hot betting tip for the Napoli game on Monday.
Napoli against Empoli. I think Napoli take it 2-1. I think goals from Lukaku, and we'll give it to Romani or someone like that, Di Lorenzo, a defender. And then Sebastiano Esposito scores for Empoli. Jay's hot betting tip of choice is Lazio against Bodo Glimt in the return leg. Now, obviously, Lazio humiliated themselves and the entire country of Italy when they went over and lost to Bodo Glimt. I don't know if you guys saw the pre-match photos where the entire fucking pitch was under snow.
Yeah.
I don't know if that had anything to do with them.
Maybe.
With them losing. I don't know if you guys saw the match or the highlights, but they got fucking demolished. Like, they were getting outplayed. Bodo Glimt had so many fucking chances. It could have easily ended 4 or 5-0. I don't know what it is about that fucking team where they they kind of burst onto the scene when they destroyed Roma like 5-1 or something back in like 4 seasons ago or something. But since then, they've been a name to look out for in the conference and the Europa League, and I don't even know what country they're in.
They're in Norway. I've actually been to Bodo before.
All right, Norway, right?
Okay, I checked the XG for Bodo was like 3. That's pretty
Yeah, no, it
rare
was
to see.
mental. They had like goals cleared off the goal line. They had numerous chances that could have been converted. Jens Petter Hauge, a bona fide Serie A legend, was just tormenting Lazio. In any instance, look, it's revenge time. It's the Olimpico. Now it's Lazio's turn. They're probably going to unban the penis guy and bring back his eagle to rouse up the players, and they'll have all their banners and stuff. 3-1 Bodo Glimt at the Olimpico. There's nothing more that Italian teams love than to humiliate themselves against shit teams, so it's going to continue here.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, like I said, been to Bodo before. Did not even know they have a football pitch there, let alone a professional team, so good for them.
Let alone a professional football team that routinely destroys the apparently top, 4th or 5th best sides in Italy, Roma and Lazio. Did you guys see the banner they had? It was like a caricature of them standing over like a defeated Roma and then about to do the same to Lazio. and they did precisely that.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we'll wrap there. We'll be back midweek with a Subito after the match against Bayern. Hopefully a positive match, assuming we can get Mikko sobered up and ready to record. So we'll catch you all then. Mikko, take us away.
All right. Forza Inter, Forza Champions League, Forza San Siro. See you.